Baz, welcome to the Gymnastics Growth Show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. You've done a podcast before. We did one in person actually as well. We didn't video that, but we definitely got the audio. I don't know if you remember that quite a few years ago.
Yeah, I think I was maybe one of your first.
Yeah. Met in a meeting room somewhere and we had a good chat with just a mic sitting in the middle of the table, and things have evolved a bit since then. But,
I had a Gymshark hoodie and tracksuit on.
Oh, yes.
And thought I knew it all.
Good times. Anyway, fresh back from Europeans. Obviously, you've had a bit of downtime between then. First of all, congratulations. Amazing result. Much. Senior European champions. How was it? How was the experience?
Yeah, I'm very, very proud of the team. I put a lot of pressure on myself to do well. I'm new to the role. The job is really important to me.
Yep.
I'm very proud of our country. The team that we'd selected was strong, and I believe that we could do really, really well. And the plan was executed really, really well by the team of coaches and staff and gymnasts in particular. And the trust that they had in that plan was really, really important to me. So to get it over the line and to become European champions in an event now where men's artistic gymnastics is now 8 elements, the field had been pulled really close together.
Yeah.
And so the competition it's really challenging to get over the line. But yeah, we hit every single routine, no falls.
Wow. Is that just a team competition or the entire event? Regardless, that's incredible.
The team competition, we didn't carry one fall.
Wow.
Yeah, we made some slight errors and scores weren't perhaps as high as they could be. But yeah, in fact, I think only P-bar, maybe Courtney's apparatus final, parallel bars where he did back and fly out for the second time. Slight error. But yeah, in the team comp, the main thing is always to no falls.
Yeah, regardless, there's a lot of routines and a lot of pressure, a big stage. That's impressive.
Yeah, pressure, especially we start on pommel first apparatus.
Okay.
A lot of the work we do with the gymnasts is to get them to really understand that sports pressure isn't really real pressure.
Yeah.
And therefore, how you deal with it and how you use nerves or as superpowers, and actually they can make you stronger.
Yeah.
And I try and twist that, make that a powerful situation as opposed to a pressure situation that can crumble you. So we work a lot on that with younger athletes and have done a lot of that with this team.
Like a reframe then of how they might be feeling in that moment.
Correct, yeah. Butterflies, what is it? It's a good energy, it's a positive energy, it's a time for you to be alert, excited, strong, powerful, courageous.
Yeah.
To harness that power and do a fantastic routine for your team.
And Matt, you said then you do that work with the younger athletes as well, because obviously you can't get to senior Europeans and then just turn that on. But that process is starting from developmental, right? You're trying to instill that understanding of what competition feels like, means freedom to fail, I'm assuming as well, and like that it's okay to fail. Am I right here?
Yeah, like attracts like, that's what I believe. So if you are... if you're not accepting of that situation in that moment and you are frightened of it and fearful of it and you're kind of holding back and you're trying to get rid of those nerves and embrace them, harness them, use them as a positive experience. And I talk a lot to the younger athletes. And pressure is a privilege is a beautiful quote that's on the US Masters tennis court, which I love that quote. And I love listening to athletes. There was a Shaquille O'Neal when he talks about when he misses he plays bad and he says to his dad that he couldn't quite handle the pressure, and I think his father gets angry at that and flies him straight home and takes him to a shelter where there's a family living homeless, and the family one by one start coming out as day rises, and he says that's true pressure, when you're thinking where your next meal comes from. So that's something that really sits with me, and it's very, very powerful. And I think sharing that with young people, that message, and getting them to charge up and think, right, this is where I'm at my most powerful when I feel those nerves. So let's temper them, let's use them in a positive way to get the result that I deserve, because they've done tons of routines up till that time, up until that moment. And as much as coaches, we try to replicate that pressure in the gym through multiple routines or control competitions or now online competitions or going live. So you're accountable for that goal.
Yep.
You can't really replicate that one moment where, it's first apparatus, you're first man up for your country, and you want to get off to a good start and you've got the pommel horse to navigate. So yeah, I work hard for them to really understand what that pressure is and to use it to their advantage.
How much do you think that contributes to the success of the GB program? I mean, you're new to this role, but you've been an integral part of the GB men's program now for, I mean, how long has it been? Like 20 years? Are we at 20 years?
19,
yep. 19 years. I thought it was around then. So you're not new to the system. I mean, you've made a significant contribution to all these results from juniors and obviously now with the seniors and in a leadership role. But how much do you think that coaching of the mindset and the kind of, let's say, the cultural architecture, and I know you've been really hot on that, like how much has that impacted technical performance? Because that's a huge competitive advantage that maybe other people just don't focus on. They're just focusing on technical routines, etc.
Yeah, I failed as an athlete and as a gymnast because I could not handle pressure, could not handle my nerves. I was really frightened. I was approaching the apparatus. Sometimes before the competition, actually, I was hoping that perhaps I'm at the this major competition, but I don't actually want to go out there. So maybe if I was to roll my ankle now, the reserve would get in. And that was kind of my mindset at times at a major competition. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
And I was hiding it all. I wasn't sharing how I was feeling. And I loved training. And I was a really, I was a talented gymnast. Like I didn't do much up until I was 16, but from at 16 years old, moving to England to follow my dream of being a gymnast, to probably getting in the GB national team at 22, that's quite a story and quite the journey of someone who had really a basic level of gymnastics when he arrived in England. But I wasn't prepared at the mindset in order to handle the stresses and the pressures of competition. Yeah. I was frightened to compete, and I would be thinking about all the things that could possibly go wrong, as opposed to all the things that could go right, or could go right, or the fact that I actually had worked hard enough and I deserved to do well. And the nerves consumed me. So I think that has 100% shaped how I think as a coach, and I really put a massive importance on that. I work on people's self-esteem, genuine self-esteem, their pride, and part of that is being able in front of your peers to say, hey, this is my one go, everyone watch me. And it's okay if you make a mistake. It's okay, no problem. If you felt you weren't able to control it. But the more you do that and the more you practice that, of having that accountable goal where all your peers and everyone's watching you. And yeah, it's a pure joy when you see someone like is quite an introverted person or quite a shy person is able to go, hey, Baz, Jim, watch me. Building, watch me. Yeah. Or I'm going to post a live video now of my routine. If I fall flat on my face, it's out for the whole of social media to see. Or these cool Levian comps that we're doing. There's no hiding. You're accountable, and it's okay if you make a mistake. No problem. That's great. There's some learning there. Yeah. But the more you do that, the more you're able to, understand what pressure is and use it to your advantage.
And looking back now in hindsight, and we've got hindsight bias with this, are you kind of grateful of your journey as an athlete because it's actually, whilst it wasn't what you wanted then, now the impact that's had on the way that you coach other people and the success that you're having and the legacy that you'll leave within the program as well, many years to come. Do you look back now and go, I'm glad that this was the way that it is?
Yeah, I'm glad in that the passion that I have for Great Britain and the passion that I have for gymnastics in Great Britain stems from, the disappointments I had, not only as a gymnast, but perhaps also feeling that the organisation let me down, along with the generations of gymnasts. Don't get me wrong, there have been some fantastic gymnasts who have paved the way. However, there were times in my career where I felt British gymnastics, specifically at the 2003 World Championships, where I couldn't even make the team. I was a reserve. Because I wasn't good enough to make the team. I couldn't help them do better than 23rd in the world and not qualifying for the Olympic Games. I was part of that generation, and it makes me sad. And I think I left that competition thinking, I really do feel that Great Britain are a bit of a laughingstock in the gymnastics world. No one really takes it seriously, and we have lots of foreign coaches who have come over who I respect, but perhaps others who have just come over not really to benefit our nation. And that's driven me on. I still have that
fire.
Yeah, and when to walk in now to the European Championships as head coach and to be respected
Yeah.
And for our gymnasts to be like, wow, we've got world champions, Olympic medalists, Commonwealth medalists, European.
Yeah.
But we're also respected as an organisation, and we're respected as a nation in the field of gymnastics.
Yeah.
Very proud of that.
Yeah. No, amazing. This Europeans, you were not on the coaching floor, which is a bit unique because in previous Europeans, I think for the most part, you've been on the floor, haven't you? How was that for you? I can imagine it was different.
Yeah,
experience.
When I in the Paris Olympic Games, as I left the competition floor after the team final, we were fourth, and it's always been a dream of mine to win an Olympic team medal.
Yeah.
Something that I continue to have as a very, very important part, a goal to have. I left the competition floor thinking I'm never ever doing this again. And that's honest. And I did it the whole of that year.
Why did you have that thought?
I was like, at the Europeans that year, I was like, this is my last Europeans, guys, on the floor. I'm not doing this anymore. I've had enough. At the World Championships, said this is the last World Championships. And then Paris Olympic Games left for us. That's the last time I'm going to do that.
Right.
I think I just had enough. Like, it's really, really emotional down there. And when you're down there, you have to be the person that is calm, and you're kind of masking all the things that are going on, and you're constantly adapting and changing to the needs of each person. And it's just a really. I just knew that was it. I'd done enough, because I thought, it's too tough this, and I'm getting old. That's what I thought. However, approaching the European Championships, and I think Paul had always said, it's very difficult being off the floor.
Yeah.
But I was like, it must be easy for you. You're just in the stands watching. I would say the European Championships this time was the most nerve-wracking experience I have.
Okay.
Given that I'm saying that nerves have to be positive, I could not find it a positive experience, and I was sweating, and I don't know why.
Lack of control, do you think? That you couldn't
because you feel as a coach like you can some sort of change things, and I had full trust in Dave and Ben, who'd done a fantastic job. But I think you just think when you're down there, you can say that one thing, or you can,
And I guess in reality, some of the things that you do are more for our benefit than the athletes. I mean, we're keeping ourselves busy. We feel like we're in control, but actually some of it isn't necessary. Like everyone's, particularly with the work that you've done, the athletes know what they're doing. Coaches know what they're doing. That team is functional, very functional under pressure, and experienced, right? So it's not their first rodeo. But just being there helps us to feel like, if something was to happen here, I've got it covered.
And you're in your moment, and you're in your zone, you're moving, you're doing whatever, and you go and speak to. So you're kind of you're distracted.
Whereas, thought about this, and are they planning for the next apparatus?
I'm there thinking, have I bitten off more I can chew here? This is my first time. Everyone keeps telling me that you've got big shoes to fill, Baz, Eddie, Paul.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, we're going for the win. I'm saying all the things I believe, because I believe in positive affirmation. I believe to put out there what it is into the world that I'm going to do. If I strongly believe that, we are going to be world champions. We are going to do that. I believe that. It's what I've planned for.
Yeah.
So I'm saying nothing, but the more you're doing it, then the less control you have. You get in the crowd, and in that moment, they then go to pommels. And, that's the purse piece gun. And then, we're pushing as well. So Harry's doing a triple back off rings. Courtney's doing a triple back. We're to the start of the cycle. So we're pushing start value. We've got triple backs on floor. We've got triple backs off rings. We've got huge faults. All these things as leader, I'm vocally saying we're pushing start value. We're building. We're getting better. But again, you're layering just
more accountability,
on
more
yourself.
Responsibility.
Yeah. I'm responsible for the plan and for the result, and the influence I have over these young men and coaches is one that they trust me. Therefore, this is what I believe is right. They're going to follow it. So all that accountability is coming, but then you're not really there to do it. You're just sort of a spectator.
But how important is that accountability for you and responsibility? So let's assume that you were no longer responsible and accountable. How would that feel instead? Because I have a feeling, kind of like myself, that I thrive with that. Like, I want the responsibility and the accountability. And actually, if something goes wrong, I'm okay with that if I'm the one that is in control of that result. Because I can look back and say, and hold my hands up, okay, I got that wrong. Let's tweak. What I find difficult, perhaps it's the same for you, is where things go wrong and you don't feel like you had enough control over that outcome. So I'd rather take all the responsibility and learn from it and be able to manage it moving forwards. And I kind of get the sense that you are, whilst it's uncomfortable sitting in the audience, you'd much prefer to still be accountable and responsible for what goes on.
Yeah, I guess the new role is just such that, before I wasn't a leader. I was if anything, I was in charge of making sure the team were happy, supported, and I could flex my behavior to get the best out of everyone. I was constantly changing, developing skills, pushing start values. But ultimately, the leader is Paul. He was there, and he's accountable for the whole program.
Of course.
And I think when I first started this role, I was kind of unsure as to what it is to truly be a leader of a program. And it's something that I'm sort of slowly figuring out. So the accountability bit is not just for the gymnast anymore and for their routines and their skill development. The accountability is for the legacy of the program. The accountability is for how do I make sure that British gymnastics becomes a closer to the performance program? How do I make sure that UKIS are now much more aligned to our program, and we are collectively accountable, and we are I've got a lot of, I've realized that I have a lot of responsibility, not just to athletes to influence anymore. I have take for example support staff. How do I, as a leader, get them to truly understand what the coaches and gymnasts are going through in the training environment and on the coaching floor? Because even for us, you've been in gymnastics for a long time, you sometimes still take for granted the complexities and the dangers of the skills they do.
Yep.
One angle too short, knee injury, or too many load. The perils of gymnastics are clear, but it takes sometimes an accident or a challenge or a near miss for it to really humble you and go. So yeah, that's an example of how do I make myself accountable to the, for example, the support staff by getting them to fully invest into understanding what goes through the gymnasts and the coaches when they're doing a control comp, for example.
Yeah.
But then that layers actually the leadership of there's a lot of people that I have to be responsible for, and the key to doing that is how do I align everyone to the way of thinking that I think is right.
A vision, essentially.
Essentially, yeah, a vision, which, I like dreaming. So I like to create inevitable dreams which spark emotion. So it could be, I'm going to sit in LA in that crowd. I'm going to be sweating. I'm going to be nervous because I want it so bad. But that team medal is going to happen. And that USA, that chant, that
you can hear it already.
USA. I'm going to play it, and it's just going to go shh.
Yeah,
because the score is going to flash up. And it's not that I love the USA and I love America.
Of course, yeah.
Great, but it's just I get tingles because I know that crowd will be. It's terrified me, if I'm honest, in Paris. It was really intimidating because they're passionate about the country,
Yeah.
But that moment now fills me with goosebumps, because I think, right, that's going to center me, keep me focused and aligned to what I need to do to, this year. But how do I get everyone else to buy into that? And what are the parts of that? How do I find out that's what individual success looks like to me? That moment, that feeling.
Yep.
What does individual success look to everyone else? What does team success look like? What do we stand for? How do we communicate? What are our values? These are all things that I learned many, many years ago, but didn't realize that probably the course that you and I were on was probably a leadership course, wasn't a coaching course.
Yeah.
And so now I'm kind of have a unique opportunity to put these things into practice and become the leader that I think I'm capable of, which is a really I think someone that I can be very proud of myself, which is not, its pride is not something that I find easy for me to feel. But as I get into this role more and more, I'm feeling more and more proud of myself and the way that I'm attempting to lead.
I love that for you. What do you think? It's let's say you're new to the formalities of the leadership. I mean, you've demonstrated leadership qualities for years and years. So, okay, maybe it's not as formal as it is now. You're the head coach. You are the designated leader. How do you think that will continue to evolve between now and LA? So if we were recording this, let's say March, April of 2028. So we're like months away from the games. Obviously, you've qualified. You're pushing for that medal. How will Baz feel about leadership, and kind of what paradigms and contrasting thoughts might you have, do you think, then, based on the Baz that sits in front of me here?
Yeah, so there's a tool that someone showed me, and it's basically the tool is trust, alignment, and autonomy. So throughout this cycle, it's this tool that someone showed me that is really sparked my imagination, along with a lot of the skills I believe I learned on a UK sport course, and I've developed throughout the last 10 years in how you pull teams together. But basically, it's, and I think it's really important now, especially in coaching, in that this word of autonomy, and how much autonomy is useful. We sometimes swing far too much in the direction that we give too much autonomy to young people or to adults, in fact. Anybody, that you kind of self-govern completely. And then we've got the opposite end of the screen where it's you just dominated and you just told and you just do what you want to do. Ultimately, by the time I get to the Olympic Games, my autonomy dial is going to be just right. It's going to be, I'm not quite figured it out yet, but I will as every major competition progresses. I will understand where that dial sits. And because ultimately, I do think that individuals have to have direction. And that comes from me as a leader. Like, you have to, and that comes by the right amount of trust. That's the second part of it. Too much trust on your athletes or in the members of staff or the people on my team isn't good, I don't think. Like, to have 100% trust in an individual
Could leave you vulnerable, essentially.
Correct.
Blind spots. Complacency.
Yeah, it's naive to think that you're going to have that. But then no trust is obviously clearly there. So at the moment, how do I use that? How do I speak to members of my team and perhaps say, not just gymnasts, coaches, support staff, other people in British Gymnastics, competition events, like the whole team. How would I say, well, actually, I'm giving you certain opportunities, but however, you're not aligned to what I want you to do, and I don't trust you anymore, therefore you're going to have to build that trust back up. That's a healthy culture, isn't it? Yeah. And so they're the two dials that by the end of the time of the Olympic Games, if we are to be a success, I will have finally figured out what the correct amount is by, I think, aligning people to what it is we are going to achieve at the Olympic Games. And so for the European Championships, I play with sort of briefings and debriefings where we just do what we did at ECAT, really, just pose sort of questions on the wall.
Bit of white space? Not so much in those sessions?
Not so much white space, but more just an influential question which gets people to really say how they feel. What does individual success look like? What does team success look like? What challenges might we face? How will we deal with those challenges? What are our values, our beliefs? And adding to that, just little sessions that we used to do.
I love it. Still
so
think
powerful.
about them often.
Me too. Really, really powerful, and then using them in situations in the gym, perhaps when someone's not aligned to what we all agreed as a team. And I've been doing this with our gymnasts and our team of coaches, but then to do it with British Gymnastics, outside of the performance team, to do it with the performance team, to do it with the UKIS, everybody. So that eventually we will have for the Olympics a really clear vision where we're all aligned as to, if these are 5 or 6 statements which we are committed to, and you're either in or you're not. And that there, for me, gets the correct amount of autonomy and the correct amount of trust.
So here at NR Gymnastics, we're once again super proud to be partnered with Little Stars Leotards, who've been a fantastic partner for us over the years. Not only do they provide exceptional service for their customers, but they're a great team for us to work with, and they provide us a lot of value too. It's no surprise that so many clubs here in the UK, but also overseas, are making the switch to Little Stars leotards for their service, but also the quality of leotards and clothing that they provide to the community. So if you're interested in checking out why they're such a great team to work with, visit littlestarsleotards.co.uk. And thanks again, Little Stars, for being such a fantastic brand partner. I'd seen, I think it was on Instagram, that you'd maybe LinkedIn actually, because you're sharing some.
Yeah, I'm a dog with a bone now.
I love it. I've been indulging in your LinkedIn content, which is great. But you'd mentioned about the difference between autonomy and empowerment. Can you just share a little bit about that? Or within a sentence, I think it was something to do with like maybe over empowering, or is that basically what you were mentioning before about the pendulum swinging too far? Didn't know whether you saw those. I think it's just that there's a fine line that we tread. There's a fine line between empowering an individual, and having the correct amount of autonomy. I think there was a quote actually. We should. I'll find it. I'll dig it up.
You have to dig it up and get that quote. So I made a quote up actually about it, so which is quite good. That could be Barry Colley's quote. I can't remember it off the top of my head though. So.
Sorry, mate. I put you under pressure.
You could have warned me. I could have,
No, it's all good. No, but it looks like you're enjoying those shared content posts. Maybe it's helping you to reflect on some things as well.
It's just helping me to sort of document my journey. Again, it's a bit scary because not scary.
Put yourself out there.
I put myself out there. It doesn't, it's not something I feel comfortable about. But what I'm doing is sort of when if I feel something if I go for a walk in the morning, I see I want to say about that. I want to talk about it. Then I just kind of talk. Or if I posted recently about one of the younger athletes who was struggling, and I got him to put write 2032 on his hand, and they're just cool things I'm doing at work. What your impact is to these people is not these individuals is huge, and what's going on in the mind of Barry Collie, and that's kind of what I've been documenting on Instagram. And so far so good. I'm enjoying it.
Love it. What's the hardest part of the role? On a day-to-day, so obviously you've got these moments, these events, like going to a big competition, and like I understand that they're probably going to be peak emotions up and down in those times. But on a day-to-day basis, like you're not away. Maybe you're at Lillishall, maybe you're on the road. But what do you think that is the hardest part of what you're doing?
I am. Someone once said this to me when I got really offended, but that's actually quite true. In fact, my good friend Lou Will said once to me that I fly by the seat of my pants.
Right.
And I was like, but actually, yeah, I can do. I can.
Sunshine yellow.
Yes, I can get through.
Yeah.
However, you can't do that in this job. You cannot do that, and therefore, one thing that I've learned probably over the last 2 or 3 years is discipline and the value of discipline. And I have to be very disciplined to make sure I do the parts of the job that I find difficult, which are really communicating with so many people.
Yeah.
And being disciplined enough to do that first, and to make sure that all those things people are answered, people are heard. I see you, I hear you, and I'm listening to the right things. I get the right things done. Then it's the leadership role. And then finally, if there is a little bit of time, then I get to do what I love most, which is go and coach gymnastics. But I think that's the difficulty that I find out of the job. It's to be truly successful in this role, I have to be able to perhaps do what the 2 mentors that I had found difficult, which was to remove yourself from the building, be there when you needed 100%, and when the gymnast needs you or the coach is being there, and be around. But I want to really work hard this cycle to be different. Don't coach. Don't warm up. Don't get me wrong. Don't be busy like that. Don't be seen.
But how does that make you feel?
Yeah, uneasy, and it's difficult, and it's different, and I have to be careful because I am a big part of a lot of the gymnasts' careers, and so when you're not in the building, they find that a little bit strange. But it just involves trust again.
Yeah,
trust. Too much autonomy for me will be bad. So my autonomy is coming from the performance director in British Gymnastics and what they need from me. So yeah, I have to listen to what the other things are part of my role. And trust, I have to trust in my new team, Lee and Andre, and the fantastic personal coach and the gymnast, that they will do a great job.
Yeah.
But I influence him in the shadows.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something I find easy, but I know it's hugely rewarding when things go well, like the European Championships recently.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when we did our course. This is a perfect example. I remember we did a radio station, and it was near the end of my journey where I sort of got over my arrogance and.
Oh God, I remember this.
And they sort of there was roles which, and I was like, I definitely want to be what you're doing, I want to be leading the show. And there was another role which was basically it was cutting
in the back room and the
dark, cutting in and out of like numbers and stopwatches and 10 seconds in, 10 seconds out, fading, buttons. Just film me, and no one got to see me. I'm in the dark. Yeah. No one even knows I'm doing it. No one will appreciate it. I mean, how just awful a human being was I? And also, then I would have to reach out to other individuals who perhaps I hadn't connected with as much on the course, because they were like to be in the background, and they were good at data and stuff. So I had to sort of go, please, can you help me? But the experience itself, I remember the day they coached me through the day, and I was trying and failing. I was like, then I was asking for help and guidance. We practice some more, and back at lunchtime, everyone else is getting on. No one really knows what I was doing. And then, the moment came, and I was, come on. And then I did it. Yeah. No one knew what I was doing. It cut in, and I had this beautiful moment with these two coaches, and we connected, and we were like, I can't believe they're like so proud of you. Well done.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a bit of an insight into, leadership. Probably this role does terrify me a little bit, and, I probably have a little bit of imposter syndrome. Yeah. But the way and the style that I want to do it is kind of in the background and just influencing from afar.
Yeah. And growth's uncomfortable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fear will keep you focused. It's, all the messages that you're sharing with the athletes, like your stage now is slightly different. But when they walk out onto their stage, you're actually trying to instill the same lessons that you're giving them into yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's mad, isn't it? Like, as much as I say all these things, there's a lot of times during this podcast I've talked about nervous, worried, concerned. So, and I'm 46 years old now. So, and all the psychology and all the things I encourage in other individuals, I still find I'm still an insecure individual who does have a lot of self-doubt, and I can't actually believe, if I'm honest, that I am here. If you'd have said to little Barry Collie back in Scotland in Aberdeen, there's no way. I'd like to say to him, you'll be okay. You'll be okay. Just keep your head down. Yeah. Remain optimistic, and you're going to get to where you need to be.
So it was at Ashridge when we did that broadcast, wasn't it?
Okay.
Do you, what's funny about that is I messed up my very first part of that session. I don't know if you remember.
I did, because I was in a black room just focused on.
So we had
stopwatches.
We had the desk, didn't we? The broadcast desk, because there was a radio part, but there was also a TV part to it, wasn't it? There was a camera, and then I think it was with Corinne that we were like dual news reporters, and we had our script in front of us, and Corinne was going to kick us off. So she said the first thing, which might have been like, "Welcome to this kind of UK sport broadcast to Ashridge." And then I was supposed to say the second line, but for some reason I just repeated what she said. So she said, "Welcome to this UK sport broadcast." And then it comes to me and I went, "Welcome to this UK sport broadcast." And I was like, "Oh shit." And then I completely messed up the first five seconds of our broadcast.
But it's mad. It's crazy that the tension and some of the pressures that we felt.
You got over it and practiced it over and over again. And then
you wanted to, all of the situations we did on that course, like even the, writing things down about what they liked about you, what they didn't like about you.
Yeah.
More of this, less of that. Having to come back onto that sheet and read what people actually thought of you was like, oof. Yeah. And then having all these people, kind of this team that was created, all these apparently when they had reliance on you to do your job. Yeah. And you'd really made this very cohesive team who were all happy to check and challenge and call you out. It was really, I found it really, really difficult. I know you did too. And as much as I look back fondly on it, like,
No, there were some low moments. I remember quite a lot of the time we would leave because obviously we were there together. We left separately, and we would just be on the phone to each other talking about it and just trying to decompress. And
psychological safety was between the two of us, really.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm aware of that now. That when you lead with emotion, when you lead with genuine emotion, and sitting someone down and actually showing them this is what you've done, and this is what you look like. This is who you are. This is what you sound like, and then the penny dropping.
Yeah, the perception of who I want to be and who I actually am are two different things.
It's a really tough moment, and like there's been a couple of times the year where I've been doing that, and and I see myself in them like watching that, like, oh God, that's self-reflection of is that me? That's, oh God, I'm going to really work on that. But you need that psychological safety there. Either that comes from friendship, where you and I would call and say, oh God, that was really, really tough. I didn't know I came across that, but I think self-awareness is really, really important, and I think it's a blessing and a curse, isn't it?
I feel so. I have some therapy now, either weekly or bi-weekly, and I was there yesterday actually, and I spoke to my therapist and I said, through this process, I've now understood that I need company or an activity to do after therapy, and we just sort of dug into that a bit because it's sometimes these things are quite emotionally heavy. Without actually realising it, you can go in and have quite a pleasant conversation and talk about some positive things, but you don't realise sometimes the amount of processing that you're doing, and you're bringing the subconscious into the conscious, and you're sharing it and you're talking about it, and then you're digging, and then you get a challenging conversation, very much the same as what we did with ECAP, and then you get thrown a curveball and you're like, fuck, where did that come from? Yeah. You're not ready for it. And so sometimes I found it's just, now it's useful for me to go, right, I'm going to hit the gym afterwards. Like the worst thing for me to do is probably be on my own after those sessions, because then I just continue actually over-processing in a negative way. But it's having that awareness, isn't it? And having those structures in place, I think, because the easy thing is just to not to do this work. Don't sit in a room with people and be challenged.
Yeah, I mean, I see a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Through the UKS. We've been working together for 2 years, and mine was exactly that. I mean, ECAP just scratched the surface of what was going on in my, for me personally, for me understanding myself, understanding who I am, what my challenges are, and getting things off my chest. Which I'd probably from early childhood up until a sporting career. Retiring from sport and the hurt and the depression of not being an athlete, and then getting into high-end sport and the pressures that, I've never really had ever processed from birth up until maybe 42, 43, 44 years old. I hadn't really dealt with it. I'd touched on it. And I think having someone, that's able to unpick all that is, it was really emotional for me, and very useful. But it took probably to a really, really low point in my life for me to finally reach out and say, hey, I need to get some help as to understanding me. But I would say it's probably, like you've just said, now when I have my sort of 6 weekly meetings and we chat and talk, it's really good. Really useful. He's been a great source of help to me.
I think that's a really good message for the audience as well. To a couple of things there. Don't wait for crisis. I think everyone can benefit from, but it doesn't need to be the formality of psychiatrist or therapy perhaps, but it could just be creating that safe space with a space with a friend that you trust. And because we're busy people, and you end up just suppressing stuff because you're too busy to unpick it all.
I still do it daily. Like, so I write down something every day that I'm grateful for in this new role. So it not just in life, just in this new role, which I'm blessed to have, and I'm really proud of myself, and I'm thrilled to have it. Like, what am I grateful for? That's a cool thing. What optimism is really, really important. Optimism is something which has always got me through my darkest times. When I've had to be really resilient throughout my life. Plus one optimism of like, what stands in the way becomes a way. So this is dark right now, but if it's really dark, all things are difficult before they're easy. So I'm almost there. So just keep going. That optimism is really important.
Yeah.
And like, as you just said, like your perceived social support, like, is really important. Like, can you reach out to, write down 3 or 4 friends that, important, or loved ones or family, and just actually genuinely connect with them for 15 minutes. Yeah. That will make things feel a lot better. And there are things that I have now. I had some very unhealthy things I used to do, which lacked discipline, which I used to do to avoid how I was feeling. Now I have some more sort of sort of pillars that I
structures.
Structures and pillars that I reach out to in times of crises. And it's good. It's beautiful now, because as much as I'm learning that, I then pass that on to, like, again, it's little tools. It's like, okay, it's my stint, this is my experience of it, and I pass it on to a gymnast perhaps that has got an injury. Yeah. Luke Whitehouse, for example, is now the triple European champion. The day before the last control competition, before we sort of went away, he did double last tumble and landed on his side, and his ankle swelled up, and it was unsure whether he would travel. So when we came back for the last 3 days for them, like, to have overcome everything he did, to finally get himself in the situation to travel, to then a freak accident in the gym, which... So yeah, it's there. Well, these are the things I do, Luke, which help me. These are my pillars. This is to help me have resilience. Yep. I give them to you now. Go away, and I mean, how good's that to have to be able to share that?
And that's lived experience, genuine, authentic, lived experience, which you can share.
And I think that's where, as a leader or as a human being on this planet now, like, it's my lived experiences that I've shaped who I am today and why I think. And yeah, I actually look back fondly now at all the really tough bits. My divorce, Jude, going away at 2 years old to move to London with his mum because that relationship broke up. That was a really, really tough time. Finally landing the job, exciting, like the tough times that I've had at British Gymnastics. Although there have been a lot of lows in my life where I've had to really dig deep and have opposition and show resilience, like, I've had to unpick, well, what were the things I did then to get me out of that situation?
And this is now your superpower. You know, those emotional tools and lived experiences that you can draw on to help support the athletes that are in front of you. And the coaches.
Pain, anguish, suffering. It just goes hand. Like, how do you understand love if you don't know pain?
Interesting.
I feel like I've always not put love with loss. I didn't really truly understand what love was, and I think it's only through my painful experiences and through now and having to be resilient, and then now having my young babies that I have, that I'm really purely able to really enjoy what love is and like to feel it and to accept it. And I think that's purely because all the really, really tough times where you've got to dig deep and you've got to, that's where the learning is. Yeah. That is where the learning is.
And does that help you be more self-compassionate now that you've because you're very empathetic, aren't you, to other people? And sometimes perhaps not to yourself, which is how I was talking to my therapist about this yesterday. It's a case of always thinking about other people and struggle to think about myself in different situations.
That's completely me.
Yeah, I thought so. Knowing you as well as I do. But you've got evidence to suggest that, which is where lived experience comes from. You've got evidence to draw on the fact that you can be optimistic for a reason, because all those previous times you're optimistic have helped you to arrive where you're at now, which is that.
And I wasn't aware that I was optimistic.
Got it.
Do you know what I mean? I think I wasn't aware that was something that I'm really, really good at. Like, Amor Fati is a tattoo that I have on my arm, which means the love of fate. Yeah. I think for me, any situation, I just think, okay, there are things always to have +1 optimism about, no matter how bad things get and how challenging things are, there are always things to be grateful of, and there are always things to be okay. That can be something simple like, I got out for 20 minutes for a walk. It sounds so cliche, but I felt the sun, like there's always something. I practiced it when I was in hospital recently because I suffer from ulcerative colitis. Okay. And I had quite a bad flare, and I was in hospital for a week, and it was a real test. Like, you're in the hospital bed, and I was like, I'm a healthy person. Yeah. But I was away from my family, they were at home, so I didn't want to see them, me to see them there. I didn't have gymnastics. It didn't have all the things that I
completely disrupted your routine.
My self-esteem house is like, it was 4 walls to it. It's got, I'm working on my financial situation. I'm bettering my life. I'm ticking things off. Yeah. I've got my gymnastics. I've got my family. I've got my health. And keep it fit. All those things stripped away from me. Just I'm on my own. And it's like, what do you do then? And it was a real test to think, right, well, okay, write some goals. What are you going to do today? I'm going to walk to the cafeteria and get myself a sandwich, and I'm going to finish that book that I keep saying I'm going to do. I'm going to do 7 chapters, and I'm going to do 10 air squats and 10 press-ups. And that sounds really simple, but And then when I'm going to enjoy ticking them off at the end of the day, I'm going to write 3 things that I'm genuinely optimistic about.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a conversation, my social support. I'm going to have a conversation with that nurse that keeps coming in, helping me about why she is here and where she come from. And all those things, but it does work. It really genuinely does make you feel a lot better.
Yeah.
And it's really, really powerful.
How much do you think we neglect this as gymnastics coaches? I mean, you're talking about habits, routines, like healthy habits, whether that's getting out for a walk every day, writing in your journal, having conversations. Like, you're doing this stuff very intentionally. But you've also talked about the importance of having a support network. I think not just as leaders, gymnastics coaches tend to neglect a lot of like family time, not because they choose to, but because the role kind of creates that scenario. Lots of weekends away, trips away, obviously evenings at the gym, long days, everything comes down to the kids and the parents. So how important is it, do you think, that coaches build this other kind of support network around their work, which is, family's important, looking after yourself is important, like without compromising it?
Yeah, so it's your self-worth.
Yeah.
So what is rooted in your self-worth? It has to be genuine. It's not, oh yeah, I'm just feel great and these things.
Of course.
What genuinely, and it's very difficult for me to understand what it is. And what my self-worth is rooted in this sport and in my work.
Yeah.
It definitely is. And this balance, that is important to me. My self-worth is rooted in my family. I live in the house I've always dreamed about, which is a little park. I get to walk through the park to a beautiful leafy primary school where Bodhi and Bella will go. Bodhi gets to walk there, and I love it. It's where I've always, like a community. Gemma's got a big family. I've always wanted to be part of gymnastics. That's wonderful. Gymnastics. I've always wanted to be proud of my country and my sport.
Yeah.
And want people to listen to me and respect me, and and I want to change people's lives. So I'm doing that. That's great. That's brilliant. Financially, I'm from a background where I had nothing growing up, no money, debt. Therefore, I want to have riches, but it's important to me that I really look after it and make sure my family are taken care of, and I provide for them, and we go on a holiday every year. And therefore, I need to keep striving to improve my salary and to improve my job in order to give my family a nice life. I don't need them to be living on yachts or that, but I want them to have a family summer holiday every year. Yeah. I want Gemma to be able to look after the children, therefore she doesn't have to work so often. So as long as I'm hitting that, I'm happy. Yeah. And then my own self-worth is me, my looking after me, how do I stay healthy? My self-care. And when I have all those things, sometimes they're more. Like recently, I'm away at the European, so work's more. Yeah. Now I'm home, prioritize more my family. So it's always kind of shifting. That is my self-worth. When I'm like that, I'm my best self, and I'm able to navigate life, whatever it throws at me, and I'm a far healthier human being. So in answer to your question, what I would love is in the men's artistic program is that I have individuals who are fantastic at gymnastics, but I want a 12-year-old who can come in for their 6 monthly meetings, maybe with their parents, online, with their coach, and they're able to stand in front of me and say, these are my hobbies, this is what I want to do in my future, this is what I want my gymnastics goals to be like, and this is how I'm going to get there. This is my long-term goal, short-term goal, but actually, I want to work for Interpol, or I don't know, I want to be a translator, or I'm interested in music, and this is my mum and dad, and they're so proud because this wonderful human being can articulate in front of adults. I mean, that for me, if you've got that human being there who has got huge self-worth, genuine self-worth, not just saying it because it's out of like a self-help book. Oh yeah, everything's great, everything's brilliant. Like, they genuinely feel good about themselves and they're proud of themselves. That's a superhuman being right there. Now that individual, when I tell them, you're going to go first up, 3 account, dude, in 20 years' time at the Olympic Games, and they need to win a gold medal, that individual's going to, no problem. And that's why I witnessed over the years. All of the athletes that I've coached who have been successful have had huge self-worth. And that could have come from their family or themselves or
great coaching.
Great coaching. And so, I'm working hard with the British Gymnastics Performance Department and UKS with Lindsay and the TEDGE and to have, not just with the youngsters, but the senior development, the senior guys, to have these meetings where it's almost like a job interview.
Yeah.
You know, like, hi, how are you? Hi, and they lead the meeting. They could do it in their own way. One recently where a gymnast called Oakley, which I loved, he sort of brought in a plastic globe, which was filled with all his aspirations and dreams and
Love that.
pictures of things that are important to him and what he wants in the future, and he'd sealed it. And so he took it into the meeting and undid it, and
That's
it was
cool.
a year on. That to me is just so amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you know, or an athlete who, you know, in the gym they can be quite introverted, and which is absolutely fine, and then they're very uncomfortable, you know, in this situation. But over the year, you know, then they sort of slowly, I don't really want to talk, but I've prepared this and I've sent it on. And these are all things that I think previous head coaches and maybe think are just not important.
Fluffy.
But for me,
Yeah.
they are really, really, really important. Yeah, fluffy. It's not fluffy. It's powerful. It's vulnerable. It's emotional. It's another opportunity to be.
It becomes a competitive advantage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like how many times am I all through this conversation? It's like, yeah, online event or make yourself accountable and your peers, talk in front of adults, speak without, you know, if I just don't speak and I'm there watching you and you're comfortable, uncomfortable. And that's it. That's life. Comfortable, uncomfortable, okay, optimism.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm working hard to layer all these things in our program.
You've got a lot going on in your head, haven't you? Like with ideas, philosophies, thinking, which I love. How do you organise it? Because like I personally find the ideas that I have and the thoughts quite overwhelming. But my way of dealing with that is documenting stuff, and you know I've got like learning models and things, just to try and break things down. You journal as well, don't you? Like, by the sound of it, not just the gratitude stuff, but I know you write a lot of other things down as well. Is that the easiest way for you to kind of get everything that's going on in your head out of your head so that you can kind of make sense of it all and it fits within a jigsaw puzzle rather than being...
I think at the moment I think that my psychiatrist is someone who is he's really helped me. Before it was a lot of challenge on picking like who I am and what my challenges are and how do I deal with those.
Yeah.
However, now he's almost like he's my mentor. He's almost teaching me leadership skills. And so, yeah, every 6 week he perhaps give me something else to work on. I've shared with you my resilience model, so that's going to be something I'll always use. Really unpick and understand where my self-worth lies. Like that's taken on, 12 months of work.
Yeah.
So those things are important. For me, my battery is really important. So you can see that there's a lot going on in that mind of mine. And it's really important for me that I'm a really wonderful father to my 2 young children. And I need to make sure that I see my eldest, Jude, who I'm very, very proud of. Make time for Gemma.
Yep.
So there's a lot going on. So I think in answer to your question, that's just life. And that's just the life I choose. I choose to be... have a very busy mind, and I want to be. What I love in life is just taking stuff off. That's the thing that makes me purely like that. Happiness to me is this journey that I'm on.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this the happiness of the pursuit. I love that.
Progress equals happiness, right?
Not the pursuit of happiness, the happiness pursuit. I love that quote. I think it's Jimmy Carr said it. But happiness for me is when I achieve stuff. So it's like I say I'm going to do that. Tick that off. Just anything. So I think the more things in this job and more things becoming a father, getting the kids out today to get to here on time, in all smiling, all happy.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that. So in answer to your question, the way that I do all this and still sort of don't drive myself mental is I'm just aware of my battery. So your phone when it flashes 15%, 10%, I'm aware. A lot more aware of what that is, and I know how to charge myself up in 20 minutes.
Yep.
I know the signs of you're oversharing, you're over talking, you're getting irritated, you're getting judgmental, your ego's coming out. What do I do in 5 minutes? I walk out, I go into the fresh air, I ground myself. I go and wash my hands sometimes. I wash my face, smell my hands, put some cream on, reset.
Yep.
And go again. And at night time, like get a good night's sleep or go for a run. So I think I can do a lot. I can do a hell of a lot. And a lot of people probably worry about me, oh, Baz, you know, you need too much, you need to rest. But being aware of my battery. And I think the final point is something which I am forever grateful that I'm able to do, which is elastic band recovery. So I would usually go from one major to one next thing, and I would just go and go. And I have suffered 2 burnouts in my time, which were not, you know, they weren't nice. They were very, very difficult to navigate, panic attacks and things like that. My body reacted in a way like it was like shocked, like I couldn't believe it, you know. And so therefore, because of the role I have, I look at the personal coaches that just been at Europeans. They had to go straight back into their clubs to do the British Teams last weekend. I mean, respect to them. Yeah, it's amazing, you know. And they're not even employees of British Gymnastics, so I just cannot begin to thank them enough and how amazing that is. But for me personally, in order to do this job effectively for the rest of the cycle, elastic band recovery is where I just have to completely pull myself away from this sport. Like, force myself not to think about it. I've just come back from Florence with Gemma. Until the elastic band, and if I'm honest, I will now, do work nowhere near the levels of passion and enthusiasm and creativity that I did 5 weeks ago before the Europeans, or 8 weeks ago. Or 6 months ago to get the role, but I'm purposely going to just shift down a gear shift up a gear and coast maybe a little bit. Just do what I need to do in a professional manner and allow other people to do until I feel that snap. And once I stretch so far back, I'm like, bang, I'm evinced. That's when I know when I'm ready to be my best. Yeah. And again, that's taken a long time for me to figure out. That's some good advice for people, but not possible for everyone. Yeah. I understand.
And it comes down to awareness again, doesn't it?
Yeah, awareness of oneself through... Yeah, but for me, it's always through burning my hand. Yeah. Like, that's really... I'm never going to do that again. Yeah. Oh, I've worked too hard and now I'm having to... My body's gone into shock at 3 a.m. in the morning because it's like, why have I woke up sweating and out of breath, you know? Well, clearly because you've not stopped for the last 6 months. Yeah. You're not sleeping, you're not exercising, you're just fantasizing. You're chasing results, and if I just get to that point, it'll be brilliant. And you're neglecting your family and you're doing whatever. So, yeah, it's always for myself. I just have learned to go back through my life and look at the really, really dark, challenging points and unpick what I did to get out of them and what were the learnings to come up with strategies and solutions to navigate this exciting role that I have, which, you know, when I applied for it before, there's no way I should have got it. But this time...
It was meant to be?
I think it was meant to be. Yeah. I think it meant a lot to me, and I think the interview itself, I wanted to do myself justice, and I wanted to walk out of the interview, and if it wasn't to be, and... Because I do believe that's what's meant for me is coming to me, and what belongs to me will simply find me. And I believe I'm a magnet for love and for abundance. That's something that I put out into the world a lot. I share a lot, yeah. I say it before I start talking. I say it before if I'm in a presentation. And therefore, I strongly believe that I deserve to get the job. But I want to do myself justice, so of course, the interview I approached like a major competition. I did a lot of training, a lot of preparation, a lot of control competitions where I practice and speak in my room my own, and I wanted to show in the interview not just the positive sides of myself, but also the things that perhaps I need to work on. And really, really share how much collaboration I want this program to have, how much I want us all to feel part of it. Everyone at British Gymnastics.
And you did it?
Yeah, I did. It was a nerve-wracking moment. In fact, on the morning of the evening before the interview, I was like, trousers that I had weren't very good, so I binned them. So I went to get...
Couldn't wear shorts on this occasion, mate.
Not at all. No way.
For those that aren't aware, Baz is partial to a pair of shorts in any weather.
I know. Look at my new look. You know,
great, mate.
I've had to change now. No more shorts and flip-flops. So I had to basically go and get some trousers. So I went to Marks Spencer's, got some chinos, brought them back, size 34 waist, I think, say 32. So size 32 waist, tried them on, perfect. Brought them back, looked, there was a bit of a rip. So I'll just change them. So I went to the coat hook 32 on the hanger, out. The evening, so I got them back, and then I was like, can I just get ready for tomorrow? Went through the presentation, 10 o'clock at night, get the trousers out, put them on. I was like, anyway, they were size 30.
Right.
Because they would put the wrong ones back on there. So the next morning, I don't know how I managed to get these sort of trousers like halfway up. And
you wore them?
I had no choice. So I remember walking into this thing thinking, oh my God. So it wasn't a very, very comfortable
I love that.
hour.
It's the last thing you need to be thinking about is how you're looking your trousers.
Yeah. I was sort of Googling, like, how do you get in the sauna, lose 2 inches overnight. But yeah, I'm very proud that
I'm proud of you too, mate.
Thank you very much.
I'm grateful for this conversation, and the it takes a lot of vulnerability to share the things that you're sharing, which is basically like a massive journey that you've been on, and obviously you can continue to be on.
I think it comes down to I value responsibility.
Yeah,
I really value responsibility, and I think being vulnerable is really, really important, and it helps others. And yeah, it's part of love. Like, you're not going to know love and compassion and all these things unless you understand what it is to really, truly be vulnerable. And therefore, it's really, really important for me, and to share that with other people.
Yeah. Well,
and I think if it's genuine and it's authentic, then it's powerful.
Definitely, and it will have an impact on the audience that are listening, and they'll be grateful for it. But yeah, I'm grateful for this time together, and just want to say thank you and congratulations, continued success for the rest of the cycle. And let's get a podcast in prior to LA at some point in your busy schedule.
Yeah, that sounds like a
and then
plan.
Revisit this conversation again.
Thank you, Nick, and thanks for having me today.
Appreciate you.
No problem. Appreciate you too.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Gymnastics Growth Show. Now, if you're an ambitious gymnastics coach with a hunger for self-improvement, check out my Gymnastics Growth Academy, where you'll find members from over 40 countries, all accessing my masterclasses, courses, templates, live community calls, exercise libraries, and so much more. It's a program that members have described as life-changing. So why don't you check it out for yourself? Head to gymnasticsgrowth.com to learn more. See you on the inside.